Snare Theory 101. Welcome. We are learning snares today. Why snares, you may ask? Well, it's the most important thing in rhythm. When you're headbanging to that snare, boy, I just want to teach you guys everything you need to know about snares because I don't want you to ask me silly questions. I want you to know what's good and what's not. I have a little bit of notes here that I wrote down regarding snares and how to choose or layer the perfect snare. So first, snare sample selection. If we are going through all of our samples and we only have weak snares, not going to work. There's different genres of music. So if we're making tear out and loud, heavy rhythm or dubstep, we're going to need a fat, heavy snare. And if we find weak snares, then we're going to have to spend a lot of time layering them, post-processing them to get something we may like. It's much better and easier to just find that perfect snare. Find a good pack, go to Splice, sample choices, everything, find a good snare. Right now, personally, I'm using these Agony tear out snares. I'll let you listen to my song right now just so you can hear what kind of snares I'll be working with, and we'll get into this. Those are my snares that I layered in my song, Hirogoshi, coming soon. There's some things that I want to touch base on. Layering. When we get into layering, I'm kind of thinking of three main things, right? First, most important thing is the transient beef layer. The transient is like this. Really loud attack, super fast attack, strong. This is the transient beef layer I'm talking about. We can simply layer it with a clap, add another snare, which adds tonality. In tear out specifically, we use like pan snares. So this is really adding a tonal layer or quality to your snare. That's the full snare. Glue them all together. Make it a little loud with the glue compressor. When you're actually picking the snares, you want to listen to the reverb that's in the snare. So like this one had some reverb, but if these also had reverb, the reverbs would start stacking on top of each other and it would just sound bad. So you have to make sure that you don't have too much reverb in your snares. You got to control the space, control the reverb. Use different and many types of layers in your snare to add support. It doesn't have to be 2 or 3, it could be 4 or 5, or it could just be 1. And when you're using your snares, if they're in key or they match with the key of your song, they're going to sound better harmonically, but they don't have to be in key. If you need to, like, let's say, find the key of a snare, it's really easy. You could just whip out an EQ8 right here and find the transient. So when we play this, you'll see this section here peaking the most right here. So I'll open this up, lower the Q a little bit, and I'm going to find this frequency, right? And in the bottom left, it'll say what note I'm at. You see here, it says F2. I mean, this is playing in F. So if I'm in D minor, I'm looking at this, it says F is one of the notes in my scale. So that means that this is harmonically going to sound perfect with my song. That's a really good step right away. Now, personally, I didn't know this was an F note, but my ears have been trained and tuned over time that I can hear if it's right or not. As soon as I hear with my ears that it's right, I kind of know that it's in key. But like I said earlier, it doesn't necessarily have to be in key, but if you stay in key, stay in your scale, it's going to help a lot more. And eventually, when you get really good at that, you can deviate out of the scale and have some fun with it. Also, we need to go over sidechain with your snares. So every time we're making a song, we got to do sidechain. Usually we're doing sidechain with the kick, right? But if we're doing rhythm, the kick is going to be playing with the snare. So you don't necessarily have to make a separate sidechain for the snare. It's already going to be sidechained because the kick is layered with the snare in rhythm. Keep that in mind. If you're not making rhythm and you're just making regular dubstep, your snare would be by itself. So you should consider having a separate sidechain for your snare. You don't have to, but it'll help a lot with the movement and flow and groove of the song. Remember, the snares, very important. When I talk about the snare, I'm also talking about a clap. I'm talking about the 3. So anytime you have a downbeat, the snare or the clap will always be on the 3. See, 33-3, 34-3. Keep that in mind. Most of the time, everything is just moving around the snare and dancing around the snare. It's really the most important thing. When you have everything layered, it will be sounding nice and fat, but you really have to listen to it in the full mix and start adjusting from there with post-processing to make sure that it's loud enough or that it has enough transient shapers if you need to. Just make sure that that snare is good. A lot of the times, we're always looking around for the perfect snare, but it's not that hard. Sample choice is everything. Layer it. Soon your ears will know what's good, and make sure everything's in key first. It'll help a lot. If you like this video or want more videos like this, like it, leave a comment, tell me what you like. Subscribe to my channel if you want more. Have a good day, guys. Peace out. Snare 3 going hard. Let's go.
Round